Okay. My name's Austin Khamiss. I'm a staff coach here at Starting Strength Boston. So I was kind of dabbling in a little bit of different kinds of exercises. Tried a little bit of CrossFit, tried a little bit of body weight kind of stuff. Wasn't really satisfied. Then my roommate at the time, David, he's like, "Hey man, have you heard of Starting Strength?" And I said, maybe I've heard of it. I'm not really sure. Started looking into it. And then ordered the book, started watching some videos online, and then just started doing the program. That was back in September of 2019. No, I did not have a coach. I did everything wrong. I went, so I keep logs of all of my workouts. So about a week ago, I went and I looked back, and I found my very first notebook, and I went back to day one. And it was a disaster. But I was lifting, I was pressing and squatting and deadlifting in some capacity. It was not exactly to the T with respect to starting strength, but I started to lift, so to speak. I started my press at like 85, 95 was where I started. My shoulder was really kind of hurting at the time, so my bench, I literally started with the empty bar. My squat, I think my first squat session was 185, and I started my deadlift somewhere around there also. Recently I pulled 500 for my deadlift. Yesterday I squatted 395 for 5. I've hit 440 for a single, but I would like to get to 450 or higher before the end of the year. My bench, a few weeks ago, I hit 335, and then yesterday I pressed 260. So it's moving. It's moving. Consistency and milk. Yep, that's what it is. I mean, I didn't gain too much weight. I mean, I gained 30 pounds. That's a lot, but the milk helped. So it didn't really, I didn't wake up one day and say, I want to coach. So I was teaching middle school math in San Antonio, and the head coach for cross country and track and field, Joel, he for the middle school and high school, he reached out to me. He said, "Hey man, we need some coaches to help out with cross country." And I mean, I'm not exactly built like a runner, but I said, okay, why not? It could be fun. So that exposed me to the world of coaching per se, just dealing with people and, helping them in their sport and achieve their goals and stuff. I had a lot of fun. And then track season came around. I helped out with track, and that was during the time when I started doing my linear progression. I think I had just went to my first seminar in Wichita Falls. So I started to try my best to coach the barbell lifts for the track and field kids, some of the shop putters and discus throwers. I didn't really know the teaching method per se, but I was just trying. I was kind of just doing my best, just getting in there. And then after that, I started to realize, hey, I really like this. So then I started going to some of the squat, I think it was just the squat coaching development camps. I went to a couple of those, really liked it. Then I had a few friends, a few coworkers reach out to me. Hey man, I noticed you look like you're kind of putting on some size. What are you doing? Can you train me? And then I started training 2 or 3 people. And then one thing led to another. And then I was living in San Antonio, and then an opening opened up in Starting Strength Austin. So I started commuting to Austin and apprenticing there. And then a staff coach position opened up in Austin. And then I was there for a few months, and then voila, here I am in Boston. So it wasn't so much that I planned for it. It just sort of happened. And then I fell in love with it and just pursued it. I love that I get to see people's straining faces, I have a very special window into their soul when I can see what what their face looks like when they're squatting heavy. No, it's kind of like just with teaching, seeing somebody come in here, they may have a crappy day, they may have a really good day, and being able to say, hey, here is our special little moment where we can do something unique that's gonna, I don't want to say distract you from life, but give you something to motivate you and encourage you to feel like you did something, that day. So I enjoy seeing people's faces when they walk in, and then kind of having like a snapshot of what their demeanor is like whenever they leave. And even though that looks like a small little snippet in time, when you view that, day in and day out, week to week, month to month, you get to see that these people are evolving into different creatures, into different beasts, and to be a part of that kind of evolution is really really remarkable. When I started apprenticing, it was pretty much what I thought it would look like. However, I remember when I first walked to the Starting Strength Austin gym, I opened the doors and it was like I entered the Mecca. I was like, oh my God, here's all the racks and people. I had never seen the gym itself, so there was this little element of enigma and mystique about the whole thing. So it far exceeded what I thought apprenticing was gonna be like. And you realize very quickly, what you put in is what you're gonna get out. So if you want to go, and if you have the mindset that you're just gonna go and kind of apprentice and lurk in the shadows, well, then that's what you're gonna get out of it. But if you really invest yourself and your time, the sky's the limit. So I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding of actually the program that we run and how adaptive it actually is. So a lot of people want to criticize Starting Strength. They use the dogma language, and that's because they've watched a YouTube video or read one article online and they form an opinion about it, but they don't actually know how detailed and how nuanced the programming is, how individualized it becomes for a specific person, actually sooner rather than later whenever they're training. So people just don't understand the nitty-gritty, so to speak, of the Starting Strength method in the program. And so that's kind of what I found the biggest misunderstanding is in terms of the public and how they view Starting Strength. Coming to Boston, I've never visited Boston before. I've only Googled it and seen images. I know there's a lot of snow out here. But I said, hey, why not? It's been great. It's starting to get a little chilly, so I'm looking forward to the first snowfall. Yeah, so different classes have their own little energy going on. I experienced this when I was teaching middle school math. We had sections, like different sections, and each section would have their own little personality, and you find the same thing is true. I don't know how it happens this way. It's just like they find themselves. The same thing is true in the group setting here. So you get 4, 5, 6, 7 people that come in here, and one way or another, they start to fit in and build their own little, their own little attitude, so to speak. We have a couple classes where if you finish your work set, everybody starts applauding for you, which is really unique. We have other classes that are a little more quiet and stoic and focused, but yeah, they all kind of bleed into one another and kind of fit into a specific mold.